Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Nintendo Switch. December 16th until the 20th, week 3 of December. As always, we're taking a look at all the physical retail releases, all the low print games up for order, some juicy imports, plus our spotlight section where we choose one game at random from our collection to show off to you guys. Well, that's usually the plan anyways, but as you will see, in the run-up to Christmas, there ain't a lot going on in some of these sections, but there's still a lot to get excited about. Remember, if you want this series to keep going, leave us a comment with what's taking your fancy this week, what are you playing in your backlog, and what is the most recent addition to your collection. Personally, I've not added anything that's actually arrived yet. I have a couple of games that are on the way that I'll show off to you guys next week, as long as they arrive safely enough. How about you guys? This series lives or dies by your comments, so comment, let us know, and leave a thumbs up. And if you don't mind, please share the video around, perhaps in collectors groups on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, and so on. I'm sure there are plenty more people out there who enjoy it as much as you guys do. Alright, let's get on with it. This week's Western retail releases are... well, there aren't any. Not a single one as far as I can tell. Well, not one that I'm 100% sure on. I mean, Off-Road Racing from Microids is releasing digitally in Europe this week, so perhaps that elusive physical is coming too, but I'm not entirely sure. Now, it's worth pointing out that in the run-up to Christmas, most publishers think that it's a little bit late to get on the market. Plus, also, it's the danger zone of placeholder dates. There are loads of games set for this time, but very little will actually release. Apologies if I'm wrong here, and let me know if there are any games that I'm missing, but there are no Western retail releases this week that I'm 100% sure on. Now, I know what you're thinking, how on earth is this video as long as it is? Well, don't worry, because we've still got some very tasty treats for you. Let's go into the low print games. Blossom Tales is a fine little Zelda clone. I loved playing this little indie gem when it released digitally a couple of years ago. It was one of my final reviews for my old channel before I joined SwitchWatch. A limited run release was inevitable. I'm just shocked that it took this long, as they've worked with the publisher before on Oceanhorn, another Zelda-like indie. Anyways, it's very rare that I wholeheartedly recommend a low print game, but this is one from me. I probably won't get it myself. I would if it was a slightly more affordable standard retail, but it is what it is. If you can afford it, then I hope you pick this one up. Pre-orders open on Friday. They also have a pre-order opening for Dark Devotion on the Nintendo Switch from the 20th. It's a dark action platformer with dynamic heavy combat. It released digitally last October. Sadly, we didn't play it, but it looks cool enough. I've also recently been made aware of yet another low print company, this time Game Fairy. They currently have 2 games up for order. One is Bridge Constructor Portal, which was released a while ago digitally, a physics puzzle game that is actually quite interesting. I enjoyed playing it myself. That has 3,000 copies up for grabs. The second game, much more recent, is Vambrace Cold Soul, also limited to 3,000 copies. It's a story-driven roguelite game. It's worth noting that their releases are kind of like collector's editions, which comes with lots of little trinkets too, but also with a higher cost. It's worth a look on their site for sure. Mentioned a couple of weeks ago in our import section, Japanese rail sim Journey to Kyoto is getting a surprise Western release exclusive to Dispatch Games. Yes, the low print game company that has more games up for pre-order despite struggling to ever send stuff out. Anyways, while we've not witnessed the package yet, it's stated that this is a Western release rather than them importing the Japanese release and distributing in the West. It's expected to ship in April 2020, or you can just import the Japanese version now, which already has English on the cartridge. Price isn't that much different. I'll pop links below where you can find it if you fancy it for import. Also, thanks to my mate Paul over at Switched On. I asked him if I could use his gameplay footage of this game to use here, and he said yes, of course, very nice of him. Go check out his channel after this video. He does some great Switch stuff, and he really deserves more subscribers, so head over to his channel. Before we get into the imports, if you want to support the show and buy your games at the same time, then we have affiliate links for every game talked about in this episode in the description and the pinned comment that we've put up. These affiliate links help us out massively to keep improving the channel for you guys. Really, we do invest pretty much everything into the show in some way, and it also helps us review those tasty imports that we're all about here. Now, this is not a release for this week, but many people in last week's video were asking me to mention it due to a supposed low print of the game. Anyways, the Italia Dusk Trilogy, consisting of Italia Aisha, Italia Eshe and Logi, as well as Italia Shaylee, apologies if I got those names wrong, they are releasing in Asia with English on the cartridge. There is no Western physical release planned, and the Japanese release does not have English. But if you want 3 lovely JRPGs on one cartridge with English, then this is a must-have import. I've got my eyes on it after enjoying both Liddy and Suel, as well as the recent one, Riser. Be sure to check out my review, by the way. All games are on the cartridge with no download required, which is fantastic news, although the DLC content does need to be downloaded. It's a minor point, it doesn't really impact my enthusiasm for this release. So yeah, this one isn't releasing until January, but many people asked me to mention it for you guys early so that you're all aware of it. Also, before we go any further, would you guys be up for a video talking about important imports for 2020? There's not a huge amount that's known so far, but some interesting ones for sure, just like the Italia package that I just mentioned. Let me know in the comments if you'd be up for that, and I'll see what I can do before the end of the year. Anyways, back on track. While it's not exactly confirmed for a release this week, PlayAsia's exclusive shooter, Ghostblade HD, is expected to be sent out very, very soon, and could very well be this week or next. Ghostblade is a very nice modern shooter, perhaps not alongside the all-time classics, but it's still a great game that shmup fans will want to pick up if they don't have it digitally already. There's a standard edition as well as a collector's edition, which includes a steelbook, manual, soundtrack, certificate, as well as a mini case trinket thingamabob. What is probably a classic is the upcoming release of Asperities Tie, and yes, I'm well aware that I pronounce it completely differently every single time. Anyways, this is an arcade shooter from 1998 that's being brought to the Switch thanks to M2, the great retro porting house. It includes new modes and features, but will be an essential import for hardcore shmup fans. Personally, the price is a bit steep for me, but then again, I'm only a casual shooter fan. There's a standard edition as well as a limited edition, which I believe is already sold out, at least when I'm putting this video together. Be sure to check out the links below to find out for yourselves. Maybe they've got their hands on more stock, who knows. Petoons Party is a game that I have no idea about. In fact, I'm not entirely sure if it's a Japanese exclusive, since I know the PS4 release is in Europe. I don't know about the Switch, but anyways, as you may guess from the name, it's a party-style game. There are 28 minigames for up to 4 players to enjoy these very weird-looking characters. If you do fancy it, then there is English on the cartridge, so it is ripe for importing. D.C.4 Da Capo is a standard for this video series, a visual novel. This time another Bishoujo, or whatever, which means a beautiful young girl. Take that whichever way you want. Anyways, there's no English as far as I'm aware, but it comes in 2 editions, a standard edition, as well as a collector's edition, which includes a picture tapestry, a mini message card, and something called a newly recorded wake-up voice CD. Yeah, no idea. Also, from the lovely named publisher, Broccoli, we have another visual novel, this time an otome, and that means you're a girl who's trying to date different dudes. It's called, wait for it, Uta no Prince Sama Repeats Love. Yes, those are words. Anyways, no English as far as I'm aware. Next up, we have an interesting looking action game from Freestyle Games called OBAKEIDORO. It's basically a game of cops and robbers. That looks very, very simple, perhaps too much to justify a full retail release, but I'm not going to begrudge any game from getting a physical release. It has been released digitally in the West already a few months ago, but this looks to be a physical release only for Japan. Considering it's already been localized and released westwardly, then perhaps a low print game may get their hands on this one in the future, but who knows. Swiftly jumping back into visual novel territory, we have Bustafellows, which is another otome. It has a standard edition as well as a limited edition, which includes a soundtrack CD, drama CD, setting materials collection, whatever that is, illustration portrait, postcard, and special outer box. And yet another, because there just ain't enough visual novels to go around in Japan, this time ZETTAI, KAIKYUU, GAKUEN, Eden with Roses and Phantasm. No English as far as I know, another otome. Rockman and Rockman X 5-in-1 Special Box Limited Edition. For those lucky enough to get their hands on the order already, this has all 5 Mega Man releases on Switch in one big box. Mega Man Legacy Collection 1, Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, Mega Man X Anniversary Collection, Mega Man X Anniversary Collection 2, and Mega Man 11. Yes, 5 boxes, 5 cartridges in one box set. Plus, I may be wrong, but I do believe this may be the only time Mega Man Legacy Collection 2 has actually been on a cartridge. As far as I'm aware, it's always only been a download option, which could make this a massive rarity in the future. Not only do you get these awesome games, but you do get a mini script for Mega Man 11 and an acrylic stand. Musou Orochi 3 Ultimate is releasing in Japan. Now, my head is about to explode because I think in the West this is actually titled Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate and is due early next year. So not only did Koei Tecmo mess up the Dynasty Warriors numbering, i.e. in Japan, Dynasty Warriors 8 is actually 9 in the West, but they made the same confusing mess twice, now with the Warriors Orochi series. How does that even happen? I also kind of thought that I'd already seen this released already, but I may have dreamt that up. Anyways, this is kind of like the final updated release of Warriors Orochi 4, but with extra bells and whistles, the definitive version, if you will. Anyways, check out my review of the standard version if you want to see what it's all about. Also, a sad update for Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? I did mention it last week that it was scheduled to be released in Asia with English, but around the time of publishing the video, it was delayed until March. Ouch! That's an import killer right there, since it was recently announced that sometime in 2020, publisher PHANTASM will be offering a Western release, so you're probably better off checking out that release rather than importing, depending on where you live. Sometimes that's one of the downsides of importing. Before we get into today's spotlight section, just a reminder that if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for awesome weekly content like this, bargains, as well as a healthy dollop of all the latest Switch reviews, plus you'll be in with a chance of winning a Nintendo Switch Lite and Link's Awakening once we hit 50,000 subscribers. It could be you. We can do it, guys. Come on. Alright, this week's spotlight game, this is where I choose a random game in my collection to show off, big or small. In honor of that Mega Man box set releasing this week, I thought I would talk about two games that are included in that set, Rockman X Anniversary Collection 1 and 2. While in the West we didn't have much option at all, we had the first half on the cartridge, the second half as a download. Japan got 3 options. They could get the same deal as the West, or buy 2 collections separately on 2 different cartridges, which is what my wife kindly got me for Christmas last year. I'd always had my eyes on trying this highly revered series, but never had the chance. Well, after starting with the first collection, in all honesty, I just didn't like it. Call me crazy, but it's probably one of those that I needed to play back in the day to appreciate. So yeah, I haven't even opened the second collection yet, but if you want both physically, then they are a fantastic set to import if you're fans of the series. I think many people aren't actually aware that you can get the second half on a cartridge. And there we have it, guys, all the physical releases coming this week. Not a lot going on in the West, but if you're an import guy like myself, I actually find this episode more interesting than most. And in the same regard, please check out last week's episode, which was very similar in nature, perhaps even better in terms of what it had to offer. We'll see you guys over there. Take care.